relativity applied to kinematics? Fine. Who can argue with that? Relative motion. But when you use that word and deliberately or innocently apply that to dynamics, then you've, and basically you're saying what is covariance is the same as relativity. That's where the logical error and the deception really comes in. And then, of course, covariance doesn't apply because you can prove very easily if you're not in the Earth frame and you do experiments in some other frame that you cannot get the correct result. And what does mainstream do? They invent fake forces, Harry. Can you imagine that? They say the laws of physics are valid if we add fake forces. What kind of double talk is that? Fictitious forces, but imaginary forces.
Well, this goes to my point that I was really, starting off with, which is you got to convince me that what you're talking about makes sense. And, to me, it's just confusing.
But
I can't really put it together so that it all makes sense. That's just put it together for me so it makes sense when you teach it to me in school.
Well, I think that's one of the things is, Harry and Robert. It's a very interesting discussion. Robert, you have some very interesting. It reminds me of when I was talking to Karazani in the days. I think you have a lot of clarification and terminology. But when we come down to it, what is it, Harry? I mean, we're getting close to the end of our 2 hours, but I think one of the things we can sort of talk a little bit about is I'm with you, Harry, absolutely. In fact, I think most of all humankind is that way. I sort of summed it up when I found out my dad shockingly didn't believe special relativity when he first heard about it, being an electrical engineer. And basically, what he said is I summed it up. I don't know if he said this, but this is my paraphrase. Wake me up when there's something real. And basically, that's what I think the attitude of everybody is, from engineers to the only difference between us and those other people is we're not wanting to sit around waiting for it. We want to find it. We want to get to it. And so the question is, and this is one of the things I'm having this group over to my house, people are in that boat. I put on the website, I said, look, are you fed up with all this gobbledygook you're hearing from that is just a bunch of baloney, wormholes, black holes, dark energy, Big Bang, where everything's in one, the universe is in the size of a pea. Just saying that is a stupid idea. But what they want is they want answers. And funny, this is just my own observation. When I talk to people about the work, what you, Harry, are doing, what Nick is doing, what all these other people in structures and expansion tectonics and in ether, all these people are doing, what people want are real answers to questions. And one of the answers they don't often get is we don't know what it is. And one of the things is where do we go there? So here's the problem. When you sit, let's just take 100 people. We pay them $100 each for an hour. You're going to come in here and just listen to us. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to tell you all these things are wrong. What makes these people interested in knowing what is right? And that's what they want. The first question that comes out of their mouth, Harry, and I'll give that to you, is, okay, it's wrong. What's right?
Do you want me to answer that?
No, I'm just saying. It's a rhetorical question, but this is where you go. Because, when I tell people what I have found,
well, Dan, can I interrupt a little bit and just say, science? When I was, when I was in college, I thought, and when I was growing up, my father was worked at NASA, and he worked on the manned space program. I mean, he was one of the people that put man into space, and that was a very impressive era. And that was an era in which, everything that engineers and scientists said was the absolute truth, and we knew everything, and there weren't any real questions. And I think young people are sort of exposed to that, and you would accept that when you were in college. I think in my story that I started off with, I said I didn't when my friend said, Einstein's theory is wrong, I thought, well, that's interesting, but I don't really believe it because, the experts tell me that it's true. But then when I get older and wiser, I find out that, well, it's not very convincing. So we don't have, it's the young people need to know that there are things that can be learned, that they can discover, that they can make contributions to. That's what I think the answer is. They can change it by demanding that there are answers that are convincing, that there are answers that are satisfactory. But the thing is, we're not doing that.
Well, it's a messy problem. There's a guy, Thomas Burwell, who just joined our group. I had some conversations with him. He basically said, I said, what's your background? He's basically said he was studying to be in physics. He was getting such wrong. He was getting all the gobbledygook that we all get. So what does he do? He switches majors. There's another guy who is a physics how do you say? He's a science teacher in a high school. He's a member of the CNPS.
That sounds like Nick's story.
Yeah, but I mean, how many stories are like that? This is a guy in high school a couple of years ago in chat sessions or somewhere, or at one of the conferences. He says, look, I've been trying to fight this stuff and teach the kids all this new stuff. He ended up saying that doesn't even work. The only thing he does now is to say, don't go into it. It's a waste of time. So what people are finding is the fight. They fight and fight, and you're just like punching at an ocean around you, and you feel like you're not winning or getting anywhere. Whereas I have seen progress. Where I've seen progress is knowing, being a person like you, Harry, I don't necessarily have my own theory. I like to look at them all and try to figure out, hey, this is pretty cool, this is pretty cool, this is really neat, and I like them. But when I answer questions almost like I am talking for all the CNPS members, and I say, oh no, this is sort of what we think. In general, this is what they think. The general public loves it. They're getting real answers. They come back, and then when I see a friend, they come back and they go, I was thinking about what you were saying. What it is I think we have to get maybe over the hump of we have stuff already. We have stuff already that's going to interest the public. The public just doesn't know about it. We're not getting out there to them because the only way to get to them is to get them around in a different way. And that's why, I think Meetup is a great place because this is the place where we're all gotten older. You go to Meetup and says, I'm tired of this. I'm going to go find a group of people who think like that. And I think that's a possible thing. But I'm saying to you and everyone here that I really believe that the answers and the things we've been doing for the last 20 years are very interesting to the general public. We just got to get to them.
Okay, I guess I'll talk a little bit about.
Got 6 minutes.
You raised an issue that I thought was kind of interesting that kind of segue into my view. I think what we're going to talk about next week in this open discussion. I think you would like to have presenters as we had before. Is that not the case?
I'm not sure what that question means. This didn't work out, or
talking with people? There are people who like the old format where a person would present his theory and give a kind of lecture type thing, and this is a little different. And I guess do you want to have a mixture of different types of things? Do you still want people to present?
Oh no, we still do that, and we have a presenter coming up. Actually, let's see, next Saturday. I think it's next Saturday, or no?
No, I think I'm talking next Saturday.
Okay,
we're continuing this discussion, so to speak.
Okay.
What I'm saying is people who are listening, if you'd like to give a presentation, I guess, contact you.
Yeah, absolutely. Contact me. Greg said he could host them, but he doesn't like setting them up. After so many years, you get burnt out with it. So yeah, send me what you would like to present.
So the reason that we're not having presentations is more to that Greg is.
No, it's not. It's not really that. It's just we have been spending so much time to get the new organization up and running that we had other priorities. So we're now getting ourselves set. You know, we've got the conference. I just got a quote from the Florida University, Atlantic University. We'll be announcing the conference very shortly. People are already starting to put their abstracts in. So we're just getting back on board after our hiatus through this NPA, CNPS nightmare. So it's really been more of a factor of that.
Okay, well, anyway, just to sort of segue into, I believe that the discussion next week is we're going to talk a little bit about cosmology and some of these bigger questions that you were referring to, as I recall. And those are the sort of questions I think that people are a bit more interested in. You know, was there a Big Bang?
Right.
That's kind of controversial. I'm skeptical. You know, that's another case of you didn't convince me yet. You need to convince me some more.
Yeah.
You know.
I think we can do what we'll do is we'll have that set up. I don't know if I have that set up yet. It's supposed to be on there, but I may not have made the actual announcement yet. But yeah, I think that's an excellent. That'll be different from this for sure. And to talk about the Big Bang, you know, we have black holes, we have wormholes, all that stuff, which is really, you know, dark energy, dark matter, that kind of thing. So yeah, we'll do that.
Well, I guess my question is: are the people in the group that you're referring to, is that the sort of thing they're interested in, or?
Well, I think you know what I've found. It's not so much the group is what. Here's the way I look at it. On Tuesday, I have a slide presentation. If you go to our website and look at one of the articles, I believe, or no, it's in the community section. We have a different website for the community where you can discuss stuff. I did put the slides I'm going to be showing to these people, and it's a basic overview of all of dissident science, which I'm not sure has been done in this way. And I made them very modern slides. I've showed them to several people, and they've really liked them. We just don't have these kinds of things. People have no idea. We're just so used to all these areas and all these things. The average person doesn't know about them. And the way I feel, Carrie, it's pretty simple. All of us, even in this group today, have our bents. I like expansion tectonics. I'm not a real big structures person, although I love to listen to it. I don't go out of my way to write papers in that area, but I write papers in other areas. So the way I look at it is we have to present the myriad of things to these people. We're the guinea pigs here with the meetup here in South Florida. And we're going to see, you know, each person's going to get attracted to something. Some people will be the Big Bang. Some people will be ether. Some people will be structures. Some people will be experiments in electromagnetism. Some people will be gravity. Some people will be expansion tectonics. So the way I look at it is we have to show the ampleness, and that's why when you go to our site, we have the topic areas, and you click on those. Greg and I have tried to top the top site. So the answer really isn't. I think what you have to do is present different areas, because some people will like that. I'm not going to go to that one. I'm not so much into cosmology. Or, you know, I'm tired of special relativity. I'm not going to that, but the cosmology one I'll go to. So my feeling is a variety is always good.
Okay, I guess we're done.
Yeah, we're done.
Unless somebody else wants to.
Yeah, I know that there's been frustration. Just to remind everybody, you can chat to everybody if you scroll up and down and find that little chat with the double windows. You can use your mouse roller or do whatever. I've seen a lot of people chatting because I can see them all, but they're all going to themselves. I'm not sure I can set that globally or not. I will check, but you want to look at that. There's a little bubble, I call it, two bubbles. You click on that and you can chat with everybody. I think that's one of the things we need to learn a bit, and I think next time I can share my screen and show people what that's all about. But I want to thank Harry for suggesting this. I think this has been a great suggestion. I think we need to have sessions interspersed, because one of the problems is just going and listening to someone lecture a lot of times, and some discussion afterwards is always interesting, but I think having these sessions are greatly needed, and I want to thank Harry for doing that. And I also want to thank everybody who's put up their fights for the relativity and their work with relativity. You know, Steve Bryant, Nick Percival. I know I try to everybody. Robert Bennett. You know, even Roger Anderton. I know we're writing an article together on that. we don't always agree, but what we know there are problems, and we have to always come back to that. I think we have to all be on the same team and know and say there are basic problems with physics, and cosmology and philosophy. Let's all agree on that, and then discuss those in a civil way. And we've been doing that. And I want to thank you, Harry. I've always admired your opinions, and I'm going to be interviewing Harry on a new podcast, which I'll be announcing in a couple of weeks. But congratulations on this idea. I think it was really went well. I saw applause.
Thank you, David.
Okay, all right. I'll be stopping every couple. Yeah, go ahead.
I think that a lot of people like these Saturday morning meetings, and I'm glad that we're doing it again.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just been a lot of work. I mean, Nick Percival, I want to thank Nick Percival, Duncan Shaw, Lula Lafayette, and Greg Volk, and myself, thank myself, but we are the ones who got us transitioned to our new, organization. We're just finishing it up, the actual incorporation. It's in a way that all members have the ability to pull out the entire directorate at any time. We've eliminated a lot of the problems that we saw when we were trying to do the MPA, but it doesn't matter. What's most important is all the work that Nick and Duncan and Lou and Greg and myself are putting together. I think that's to be applauded, because what we have today and having us and getting us back to these Saturday mornings wouldn't have happened without their help. So, and remember, folks, we have the abstracts. Start submitting your abstracts. We can't have a conference if we have 3 people, so start doing that. Don't wait till the last minute, okay? All right, everybody, I'm going to stop the recording.
Recording of the conference has stopped.
Okay, Harry, thank you so much. So I need to put up that new event for next week. I may have Greg get to do that, because I'm taking it on the chin here at home for doing